Tell us your name and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is John Barnes Jr., and I'm running for the United States Congress, 11th Congressional District, because I believe that I can make a positive difference in the lives of people. I'm qualified, experienced, and I have a proven track record of getting things done in the Ohio General Assembly. I look at that from a biblical standpoint to be what is least. What is much would be at the top level of our government, which is Congress. And I believe that there are a lot of issues that we have to address in our community today. And I'm very proud to have this opportunity to be with you.
Praise God. Already, what quantifiable work have you done inside the 11th Congressional District, both Summit and Cuyahoga counties, in the past 6 years as it relates to legislative policy?
Legislative policy, in 2010, when I returned to the legislature, we had high unemployment. We were in the middle of a deep recession, the largest since the Great Depression. Went to work and I adopted policies and took positions that have directly benefited my district. For instance, in Northeast Ohio, we worked on Jobs Ohio, around $738 million for capital investments. Jobs Ohio sustained and created over 19,000 jobs. Out of the $7.6 billion budget that we did on infrastructure, everyone who drives around Chagrin, Miles, Lee have seen a great deal of construction. That was $126 million. We also worked on the I-480 bridge, which was $200 million. $60 million when Patman and I sat down with the governor, and we had a discussion about the Opportunity Corridor. It's $300 million. And we quite frankly asked him a question. We didn't want to see people coming in from outside of the state, from Indiana and Pennsylvania and West Virginia. I wanted a man who sat on the porch, who knew how to lay bricks, to have an opportunity to lay those bricks. The governor was very kind. He understood the challenge that we had and what we must do. He got back to me and we did 20%, which was $60 million set aside for that. Fought poverty. I personally led an amendment in the budget to move $5 million to increase the budget for our food banks. $2 million to the Harvard Community Service Center for job training for our young single moms and young men. $500,000 to the city of Warrensville to deal with nutrition, to help people who, many of us, we all like hamburgers, right? And hamburgers had an impact on some people's health. So we wanted to bring in someone to help with the nutrition. So we pulled together partnerships with Vitamex Corporation, Cleveland Clinic, UH, a lot of doctors, a lot of senior organizations, and brought to Warrensville a smoothie program in addition to programming on nutrition that was there, and that was $500,000. City of Bedford Heights, Bedford, $300,000 to the Bedford Historical Society. That's an area that was rich in manufacturing and jobs, and many of those products are stored there, and it's extremely important to preserve that history. We brought $1.9 million to Bedford Heights and Maple Heights to redo Northfield Road, $100,000 for a senior program in the city of Maple Heights, $2.55 million to replace the noise walls along I-480 in Mayfield Heights. We brought $5 million back in grants to help as a direct result of Jobs Ohio, to help create jobs at Amazon, both in the city of North Randall as well as in the city of Euclid. And that created a total of about 2,000 jobs in total, and I think that it's growing more. That's just a abbreviation of some of the things that we've done. Legislatively, I've worked on programming that when people would go in and they would be arrested, they were never tried, never convicted. We created a piece of legislation. It's called the Mugshot Bill. And people were taking advantage of folks seeking jobs. So I call this a part of the low-hanging fruit in criminal justice reform, in that it affected over 1 million people in the state of Ohio. And we went to work, got that passed in a bipartisan way. Very, very proud of that piece of legislation that to date, it was temporary for 6 months, helped around 80,000 people. It has since been put into law permanently with the state of Ohio, with my co-sponsor, Dave Greenspan, and my successor, Representative Brent. We think that that is very, very important. Also, we created a temporary amnesty program for criminal justice reform. People would go to court, they would pay and do everything that the court required of them. Had all of these fees that were out there. We created that program to help with a temporary amnesty program that eliminated that and help thousands of people across the state of Ohio. So that's an abbreviation. I don't want to take up all my time talking about accomplishments, because it's time to talk about something else.
All right, absolutely. Well, our next question is, what committees would you like to be on in Washington, and how would they help the 11th Congressional District?
Well, I think that my strengths are in economic development and also policy. I've had a professor who called me a policy entrepreneur, because I was always looking for ways to utilize the American system of government in a way that it would help people to move forward, so that people could have. So I think that I would look at ways and means, which would be very valuable to this district, as a lot of our small businesses, the number of small businesses that have gone out of business and may not come back as a direct result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think that I would want to be a part of that, as well as other committees that have to do with people, such as agriculture, which I think is important for food products and that sort of thing. I think that also there are housing issues that we have to face, and then small business, which will come through commerce. And that cycle of access to public policy for grants, for money, and also that will focus on giving people an uplift, I think is very, very, very important towards looking at an area of the country which I'm not, I hate saying that we're now one of the most impoverished large cities in America. So we have a lot of work to do, in particular in the inner city with African Americans, because our school system has not performed in a way where we have trained enough people who are prepared for a lot of jobs. So we need workforce investment dollars in here. We need opportunities to train those people in the aftermath, or what I call post-pandemic, to look at new ways of structuring aspects of our economy that will make sense to Northeast Ohio.
Okay. All right. What is your current relationship with the Biden-Harris administration?
I worked very diligently. Well, first of all, the history goes back to President Obama, where I was an elected delegate to the 11th Congressional District to the National Convention. And I was one of the people who first worked with the team to help bring him here. I believe that there is a lot of history and transition in this last election where I worked to help get out the vote with Black Votes Matter. And we, in a voluntary capacity, we worked to help get the president elected by doing everything that we do in campaigns that we weren't doing prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we tried to think of new strategies to get us out there so that we could help as many people as we could to understand the importance of participating in the American system of government and get out the vote. And I think that we have to keep moving.
Absolutely. All right. What are some examples of how you have worked across party lines to help racial equity inside the 11th Congressional District in the past 6 years?
Well, I mean, I think, Jerry, what we have to look at is that in the state of Ohio, people in my party, we don't control anything. We don't control any one of the 5 statewide offices or the House of Senate. So you have one of two choices. You can get up and you can complain about things that you should complain about, but you want to think about for every action, can be a positive or negative reaction. And so my approach to government is to build relationships in a way where we can bring people together to work together. For someone who is in Southern Ohio that has an impoverished district, that's a person who's a possible partner. And in fact, was a partner with me, helping me to get $5 million added to the budget to help poor people at our food banks. So it's not always about what you say. That doesn't mean that we don't debate, but we have to work in a way where we can build relationship after relationship, because those reactions can have a negative impact on your ability when you really need someone else's vote to get them where you have the ability to talk with them. I think that's probably one of the best examples.
Okay. What is your plan for improvements to our current criminal justice system in the 11th Congressional District?
There's detail, but this is what I'll tell you. I am not satisfied with the way that people are being treated in our criminal justice system. I'm not satisfied that they're going through a process where they're being abused and they're constantly being asked to support political people who are not helping them to get out. And so I'm not for these private prisons. I am for I don't like stand your ground, that they are negatives. But having said that, we systematically need to come together and have a structural intervention so that we can divide up the issues that touch the emotions of people who have become victims as a result of the criminal justice system, so that we can break up the issues and we can encourage and have a process where what we are doing will invite others to participate so that we can bring about a level of change in a very positive way that will be an example as the shoulders of peoples that we stand on who work for change in this country, coming right out of Black History Month. So my initial focus is to bring together people to have an intervention so that we can have some focus.
You pause, John.
Bring about minimum change.
Okay. Alrighty, and
may I have to ask for a time remaining, please?
Yes, sir. You have 5 minutes and 26 seconds.
Thank you very much.
What are your plans for bridging the educational and digital divide gaps in the 11th Congressional District?
Well, first of all, Wi-Fi is not access to information technology is not just an issue for our community. It's an issue across the state of Ohio and in different parts of the country. So we need to build coalitions of people from rural and urban areas so that we can galvanize the kind of votes that are going to be necessary to get that done. And then in addition to that, we have got to make sure that we are bridging the gap between a smartphone and information that is needed by students so that they can learn about the new research technologies and access the information in our schools that's going to help them build. Well, these are young people because of their early access to technology. You know, my first access to technology was an IBM 370 when I was at a computer corporation, and I don't have to tell you that that was the size of a football field with tape drives, right? Today, my iPhone has about 6 times the capacity, if not more, than we had then. They've had access for a long period of time. And so we want the new cell phones, the new technologies, the new creative aspects of entrepreneurism to come out of our young people, and giving them exposure to that will help build our economy, help sustain our population levels, and give people access to opportunity that will get them healthcare, get them education, and get them opportunities to move out from where they are to where they want to go.
Okay, what do you see as the biggest impediment to wealth disparities in the 11th Congressional District?
Well, first of all, we have to recognize that there's a disparity. I think that in Northeast Ohio, we are the greatest pretenders of what is happening that is not happening. It's inexcusable that with all of the public investment that we've made in Northeast Ohio, that we have not found a way to give people access for what I call a hot dog test. All right. And that means that when we talk about building wealth and opportunity, hot dog simply means this. If you were to add up how many hot dogs we serve right downtown, and I use a hot dog not to minimize or to reduce the importance of this, but in the most simplistic way to show metaphorically how we should be moving forward as a community by having a plan that looks at how many hot dogs we sell, how many rolls of toilet paper we sell, how we do this, that, or the other, and how we can give those people an opportunity to go after some of those. I mean, I recently heard that there was a contract that was issued for our local prison for millions of dollars, while most of our restaurants have lost either a third or half of their revenue. But this contract went to an out-of-state company. I can't see where that makes any sense in terms of us building our economy and opportunities for people, and in this information economy. And so monitoring those things on all levels is extremely important. And I'd be happy to elaborate on that at any time, Jerry, but I think I probably have about 2 minutes left.
You got 1 minute and 12 seconds. So you get one. What are the priorities of the Biden-Harris administration for the 11th Congressional?
You say what are?
Yes.
I think that the president has a very comprehensive outline of what he is looking to achieve, not only here, but across the nation. So I don't have access to the discussions. I welcome that opportunity, but I can tell you this real quickly here. We need to focus on how we can provide assistance to our young people. We still only have 3 out of 10 students that are going to colleges and universities, 1.5 that are actually graduating. And so 7 out of 10, we need workforce investment dollars in here for that. We need to look at our monetary system to see what, if anything, can be done with the Federal Reserve System to use some of the emergency authorities that they have to get availability for monies in our district for investment of jobs. There's a young man that lives in a certain community. Am I past?
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up then.
All righty. Well, we so appreciate you